When it comes to health, we all have philosophies regarding how we treat our bodies and how well we take care of ourselves. Have you ever thought about your philosophies and beliefs about how you take care of your health and the possibilities you have to heal and be well? What is it that determines when or how you take care of yourself? Do you believe that your body is designed and capable of being able to live healthily? Hi, I'm Dr. Joel Feeman, and today I want to talk with you about the difference between the vitalistic and mechanistic philosophy when it comes to health and health care and how we determine what we believe and how we take care of our bodies. Listen, it goes without saying that we live in a society where conformity is the norm. In other words, most people adopt the same belief systems as those who are in their closest circle in life. The problem in many cases, particularly when it comes to health, is that we adopt these same belief systems, yet they don't produce the result or outcome that we say that we're after. Let's face it, it can be downright challenging at times to determine what we should believe or accept to be a good model of health and health care. After all, some people believe in the mainstream model of health care, that of drugs and surgery, whereas on the other hand, there's a completely and totally different perspective. So is there an ideal or a right or wrong way to determine and care for our health? Well, when you get right down to it, it really comes down to a matter of results and what you believe to be true when it comes to health. You see, when properly practiced, the philosophies that align with that of chiropractic are more closely tuned to that of vitalism or vitalistically based. Conversely, the mainstream medical model is that of a mechanistic nature. From a mechanistic point of view, life is predictable, and it's thought to be that we should be able to control both nature and the body without any negative or harmful effects. This philosophy of healthcare reasons that symptoms are themselves the problems and should be suppressed. Then, once that symptom is suppressed, it's then believed that that problem has been resolved. It's very common to find that it's believed strongly that the body should be broken down into parts, which explains why there's so many different specialists when it comes to standard mainstream healthcare. The mechanistic point of view when it comes to healing is that healing comes from outside in. From a vitalistic point of view, however, the body is looked upon as being whole and controlled by the body's innate intelligence. This inborn wisdom, this innate intelligence, is very unpredictable, and although it can be influenced by the environment, it should not be controlled. The vitalistic point of view is based off the belief that the body's innate wisdom can adapt and mend and heal, repair, organize, and do whatever is necessary as many parts put together as one whole for the sake of healing and survival. In other words, the vitalistic philosophy is not that health comes from outside in the body, but rather that health is the full expression of life from inside out. Now, this is important because the body is seen as intelligent, and although it may sound silly at first, symptoms are looked upon from a vitalistic standpoint not as the problem, but that of serving a purpose. Think for a moment about a fever. In many cases, if you listen, people refer to as a fever as being sick. But is that the case? Is the fever itself the problem, or is the fever the solution? You see, the body's inborn wisdom was able to somehow identify potentially threatening microscopic organisms and viruses, and then go through the processes of raising the body's temperature in order to fight for the sake of survival. Is it any different when it comes to that of, let's say, pregnancy? Let's face it, the mechanistic model largely believes that as long as the patient's, quote, numbers are good, then that person is normal and therefore healthy. So with this being the case, if a young lady becomes pregnant and goes to her physician, in most cases that physician is going to look at the chart and tell the patient when the fetus is done delivering and what date to expect the baby to be born. By doing so, the thought is that everybody's life and circumstances are exactly the same. But is that the case? So would it be true if that baby is born a day before its, quote, due date, that the baby's early, or perhaps a day later that that baby is then late? Or could it be that perhaps the body's innate wisdom could determine vitalistically the perfect timing for when that baby is ready to be birthed? Listen, for many people, they hear this and they don't realize that there's actually a philosophy, a belief system as to why we do what we do and when we do it for that matter. For some, it may come as no big surprise or big deal. But in all reality, the way we view ourselves and our body's potential to heal has a huge impact on how we live our lives. Isn't it true for something, let's say, like blood pressure, where from a mechanistic philosophy, everybody would be the same? In other words, your blood pressure would be the same as my blood pressure, which would be, by all standards, 120/80. And in such a case, with that paradigm or belief system, that if your blood pressure is outside of that range, then it's considered to be either too high or too low. Seriously, if someone was in an unfortunate accident and rushed to the emergency room and their blood pressure, a vital, was taken, would it be expected at that moment to be abnormal, or should it be normal within that parameter of 120/80? If their blood pressure is higher under such a circumstance, would that be considered healthy or unhealthy? Is it then true that if we're able to somehow stimulate or inhibit to get those numbers down to a quote normal range, that once again that person is normal? Or should they even be normal at that moment of their life? You see, I'm not telling you that it's acceptable to completely ignore your body. But from a vitalistic standpoint, if a person's in an unfortunate accident, their body's physiology from an innate perspective would do whatever's necessary at that moment, at that person's life, for the sake of survival, even if those numbers are outside of a quote normal range. Therefore, just like if you were to take your blood pressure at the bottom of a staircase or at the top of a staircase, would it be expected that it should be the same? Or if you're sitting down having a glass of water or perhaps a large coffee with a double shot of espresso, would there be a difference? The point with that is the body under the circumstances at that moment, at that time, at that place, for that particular person, their body will adapt however necessary for the sake of survival, even if and when those numbers are not within a quote normal range. You see, knowing averages, numbers, and ranges is certainly one thing, but from a vitalistic standpoint, if it's done so at the cost of focusing simply on the symptom rather than on helping the body to adapt and mend and heal, repair, to move closer towards balance, harmony, or homeostasis, well, that's been proven to be a big mistake. Listen, only your body's God-given innate intelligence can determine what your body needs at any given time for the sake of healing and survival. Chiropractic does not heal your body, but rather works with the innate expression of life that's within you, so that your body can function, heal, adapt, do whatever's necessary that you may thrive. To simply stimulate or inhibit to counterfeit healing is still that, counterfeit healing. Always remember that the power that made your body heals your body. Again, I'm Dr. Joel Feeman, here to empower you with truth and knowledge so you know exactly what it takes for you and your family to live a full, vibrant expression of life. Until next time, God bless.